Hello everyone, it's Jill here with a video today about my notebooks and my notebook setups. I had a request or two to make such a video, and I thought it'd be interesting for me too, just to sort of assess where I am. I know a lot of us are switching up some of our planners and so forth for 2021, and I've been giving some thought to that. And so I'm going to start out with planning, but the notebooks actually range through all sorts of different kinds of notebooks. So I want to talk, and I want to apologize for my inky fingers. I did just wash dishes to see if that would help, but I had re-inked some ink pads this morning, so it is indeed like permanent ink. Okay, so I want to start with the newest thing I've been experimenting with. It's a little company that makes what's called a monk manual. And as some of you might know, I'm Christian, and I really did like the idea of a planner that has a dimension of, I guess I would just call it soul searching or reflection to it. And my word for the year actually is reflect. So I was very drawn to this approach, and so far I'm really liking it. Each one covers 3 months, so it's not like other planners in that way, and yet I kind of like that idea of just trying it out for 3 months. And I'm in my first month. I started with November, so I'm just like indicating the monthly. There's a little monthly area, and the weekly where you plan out your week, and then lots of daily pages. And so I'll say a little bit about each. First of all, this is too small for me for practical purposes. So I actually do have a desk calendar, which is the Get to Work book by Elise Kripe. And I've loved that for years, and I'm still using that. That's like going to be out on my desk so that I can at a glance see what's going on. But this allows me to at least put in a few of the things that I want to keep track of. Here I'm kind of mainly focusing on events and what I'm teaching, what I'm reading that week. But it also gives you the chance to make some priorities and kind of make a monthly list. And I really like the idea of a monthly list, a weekly list, and a daily list. And that's what I wasn't really finding in other planners either. And it doesn't have to be a lot of space, but I do want to set up like kind of the main things I want to accomplish that month. I do some of that in my bullet journal, which we'll look at in a minute. But it's kind of nice just to have it all together here. But there's also like a monthly check-in on things that are important, relationships, spiritual life, and so forth, and you evaluate that each month. You reflect at the end, and Elise's Get to Work book has a feature like that too, which I've always really liked. A question you'd like to answer over the month, something to reflect on. Again, you can kind of see the reflective dimension. I don't really decorate too much in this kind of planner, but I do use a few little stickers, and I do also on the daily pages along the bottom, I like usually put in some washi tape. I like stick washi tape everywhere. A couple things about the daily the daily pages. It's all undated, so I just use my stamp to date the pages. And the features that I've really enjoyed, there's a habit tracker, but it's very simple. It's like one habit per month, and then you track it here and then on your weekly and monthly pages, and just name what it is. And they recommend that you use the monk manual as your habit to like get in the habit of using it daily, because you kind of like do it. I do it the night before, plan out my day, and then at the end of the day, I reflect with highlights when I was at my best, when I felt unrest. That one's super interesting. One way I can improve, and then fill in some of the things that I know I want to like hit the ground running with the next day. My to-do list and my schedule. So at any rate, that's the monk manual. I could go on and on. This video is going to be way too long if I don't like rein myself in. So that's what I've been using for a really interesting kind of reflective planner. Okay, I think the thing I want to look at next is a couple, let me go to my bullet journal next, because that's similar to a planner. I started bullet journaling, I think a couple of years ago now, and I really love it. I can't even imagine life without it. And it serves, so you have an index in the front, and then otherwise, mine is not like a serious creative. It with lots of decorating and so forth. I keep it pretty simple. I've been doing a little bit more for my month goals and so forth, so you can see a little bit of stamping and that sort of thing. Yeah, for October. But mainly, what I love to do, there are two things. One, instead of making lists of things to do, I do what's called rapid logging in the bullet journal method, where you just rapidly write down in the course of the day what you've done. This is so great for Project Life or for other ways of just capturing in a snapshot way what that week contained. And I like more reflective journaling, but this kind of rapid logging is a great supplement to that and to Project Life type scrapbooking. So I love the bullet journal for that. It also allows me to do, they have what they call collections. Let me see if I can see. And they can be different things. Like, for instance, a meal plan. And you can plan that out for the week. I always leave it really flexible. So breakfast, snack, lunch, dinner, and then I just choose from the lists that I make when I plan it out, rather than making it a hard and fast, eat this on this day. But there are other kind of, I've used it for, if I want to organize, I'm going out of town, which projects do I want to work on while I'm gone, so I know what I need to pack. It's just like so many different things related to my work, December daily, what kinds of things I wanted to get when the product's released, and then like what size I want to work with, a little bit of ideas about that. So bullet journals are so wonderful for just the flexibility, like words that in my reading that I just like and want to remember. And sometimes there's just, for me anyway, an urge to jot things down. I also have important things like my mom's medications and stuff like that in here that I can find quickly through the index, and just carry this with me. So it's great for things that you don't want to forget and you want to have easily at hand, in addition to the rapid logging feature of it. You'd have to look up bullet journaling to get all the ins and outs of how it works, but it's been great. I really, really like it. So that's my bullet journal. This is, like, I usually have like maybe a couple of these notebooks. This is a Leuchtturm, I think you say it. And what I like about this as compared to the Moleskine, two things. One, it's a little bit wider. The pages are a little wider. The other important thing is that the pages are numbered, and that's really important for the bullet system and for the index and for being able to find things. First time I used it, I just like stamped in the page numbers, but that became like way too much for this kind of notebook. Okay. I'll just say a few things about my Traveler's notebooks. I really, really love the Traveler's notebook system, and I currently have 3 in the regular size that I use regularly. And this first one contains my Jottings notebook, which you've probably seen me post pictures of. This is a really casual form for me of journaling and memory keeping, and a place for photos. And most of these photos are just things for me that are just fun. And I keep the focus here on being casual, and it's a little more messy and minimal than my more formal projects, I guess I would say. Okay, and so that's one of the inserts. The other insert is the Art of Noticing. I keep my Art of Noticing notebook in here. I love this project so much. I'm glad Ellie released another notebook, which I have in the waiting for when I finish with this one. But yeah, so that's the other thing in this navy blue TN. So those two. And then I guess I'll just mention I have this little insert that goes on either side, and it's really great for including these little washi booklets and other kinds of stickers that I use often in this kind of notebook. And then this zip compartment contains my photos for these 2 projects, if I get them printed before I'm really ready to dive into making anything with them. Okay, so that's one of my TNs. The other one, this one just contains the finished fall scrapbook. and I have, you'll see the other one is like work in progress, but this one's finished, and I'm keeping it in here just because it's fun to continue to page through and look at. The other notebook in here is my art journal, and I'm experimenting with kind of neutrals and grunge in this particular TN art journal. I've done different kinds of things, and so that's what I'm engaged in so far. And so that's another reason that I'm still holding on to this, and will, probably as I finish my next TN, put that in and then file away the one I just got done with. Okay, so this is my current in progress work, and this is a brown Traveler's Notebook, and this is the camel, but I ended up with like a really dark camel. It's very nice. It's really, really soft to the touch, and I'm excited to see how it weathers. Okay, in here I have my the one that I'm working on. So I've got like post-its for what I want to do, and you've seen some of these projects on Instagram. So that's the current first fall. This is my Studio Calico notebook, which I haven't started working in yet, but I keep that in there too. And this is my Illustrated Faith Traveler's Notebook. This is one of the more recent kits called Mixtape, and it's a devotional that I really like reading through and thinking about. So that has found a home in this TN. Okay, I think the next thing I'll talk about is Ellie Edwards' Just Right project. And I found the coolest notebook. It's called Grids and Guides. And I've been using that for the Just Right journaling. And you can see it's just like all different sizes and shapes of grid paper. Really inspiring and interesting. So I was glad to find a place because I had kind of moved around with this. But so yeah, it's Just Right. And she's got a prompt that you pay a little bit to get the word art and so forth, and the prompt and her own advice on writing. And so I do subscribe to that. I always get like way behind, but I really love it. And so here you can see a few of them. Delight was fun. That was a really good one to do recently. And I'm on to Fire, and I've been pondering it, thinking about what I want to write in that. So that'll be the next thing I work on in this notebook. I do want to say a little bit about my, I don't know, I guess I'll call it like a decorated journal, or I think I call it the Stop the Blur journal, because I'm really inspired by Heidi Swapp, and I do subscribe to her Stop the Blur printables and use them in here. I don't use photographs all the time, but I do at least once a month when I'm working with the printables from Heidi. And so anyway, I've already done, you can, if you look back in my YouTube, you'll find a whole flip through of this. I guess I can look at maybe some of the more recent material. I don't always post this on Instagram since it's more personal journaling. Sometimes I post what I do before I do my writing. And sometimes I post it. It just depends. What I did most recently in the fall, I didn't do very much in October, so I'm really trying to kind of catch up and do more in November. Okay, so that's what I'm doing currently in this Moleskine. But I guess I might as well say, like, what I plan to do for 2021 is what a lot of people have done, and that's the Hobonichi. Oops, where is that? And my setup for that is in this really, really gorgeous Roterfaden, I guess you say it, red ribbon. Red stitched booklets are what they have traditionally to go in here, which is what this is. And I've used it just for those notebooks, but so I've got that in a traveler's notebook in here. It's got nice pockets for stickers, and I've decided to do the Hobonichi Techno Cousin Avec because it's 6 months at a time. And I know it'll get kind of chunky, and it's really just, with these other notebooks, just the right size for this setup. And we'll see how I like it. I actually don't at all mind the thin paper for what I plan to do because I use a fountain pen, and it's so beautiful to write on with a fountain pen. So I'm looking forward to using mainly the daily pages. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the months and so forth. I'll find some idea. I did a little punching of pattern paper to, like, maybe I'll just do an array of pattern paper punches. But I know that the daily pages, I plan to journal each day in the form that I use in here. So sometimes including photos, otherwise using washi and stamping and, you know, little bits of embellishing. And I know it'll probably like show through a bit to the next day, but I'm kind of like liking that idea, seeing like what I will be doing and what that will look like as I get used to it. I mean, so many of these new experiments, you don't really know until you get into it a ways. But that's gonna be, this at the end of the year is gonna morph into this. So stay tuned. Okay, a notebook that I've had for quite a while is my inspiration notebook. And I haven't shared a lot or even done a lot in recent times with this, but some of this, if you've been following me for a while, was on Instagram when I first started it. And I do love it. So for instance, I just explore like what appeals to me in a 12 by 12 layout and why I keep doing them. So I write about that, and I kind of, also I love ampersands. So I just like note that. I mean, I think it's kind of good to pay attention to your own style. This is a little exercise of taking a favorite shirt and then playing with the colors with like a little painting. And it really made me think about why I love oranges and yellows and blues. This was when I got inspired by a book on color and pattern. So I just created a pattern. I got some collage papers from Katie Light, and she sent this wonderful little card. I mean, how could I not like put it somewhere? So I put it in here and just wrote about how I'm inspired by her. I recently did a vision board, and it seemed like this was the perfect place to put it because it's like what was inspiring me about fall. And then lately with that Neutrals Grunge notebook that I was talking about, I pulled some things from Instagram that are inspiring me and wrote about it and did a little sketch. And yeah, I've seen people do like whole like physical Pinterest type inspirations in notebooks, and I think that's super great. I would like to give more time to this. It's been a really good off and on project. I'll say a little bit about this. This is another Roterfaden, one that I've had for a very long time and I've used in different ways. Right now I'm using it for a reading notebook, and this is Astalogy. And it's great. Again, I love that thin paper, and mainly I'm writing in this. And the fountain pen ink, yeah, it's very smooth on this kind of paper. So even though this is mostly just notes on my reading, every now and then I do include washi edges, and I kind of use some colored pencil on my page numbering. This is another one of those books where I'll have an index so I can find my notes on various books. Yeah, this is a little sheet that you can put in if you need something under, if it's going to go through and so forth. So that's all I have in this. And again, I have like a little folder with stickers. These I use for art journaling for my little notebook, which we'll look at in a minute. It's just a nice little place to set up stuff that you grab quickly when you're using your notebooks. Yeah, I don't know if I really showed that the Roterfaden system, if you're not familiar with it, similar to Traveler's Notebook, except it uses clips. So you clip things in. It's very versatile because you can clip in like little pieces of paper and so forth in addition to your notebook. And so this is an old friend. I really love this one. It was fun to get a new one for my Hobonichi for the new year. Okay, so I was mentioning art journaling. I did use these little passport size TNs for my art journal, and did the 100-day project and focused on art journaling. So, and then I ended up with 8 notebooks, and so that's what the covers look like. Some of them are watercolor. This one is in its focus, but most of them are, more traditional art journaling with stencils and paint and ink spray. And wow, I love that project so much. I should do at some point kind of a flip through of more of the pages. This is my old favorite Passport TN, and it has weathered just beautifully. Isn't that gorgeous? It's just like so perfect. So I guess it's probably the oldest one, and it makes sense. The more you use them, the more beautiful they become. I also love my camel, and this one is lighter than, seems like it's a bit lighter anyway, than my full-size TN. And it's also, it just has some more little art journals. Okay, I got one of the, My Documented Journey, I think is the name of the small shop that sells these cork TNs, and I wanted to try one out, and they're really nice. They're very light, and I got one with a pocket and kind of a fall motif because I knew I wanted to use it to begin with anyway. It's Traveler's Notebook, so you can put different things in, but I knew I wanted to start with my gratitude documented. These are not passport size, they're field notes size, and so this is a field notes size project, and really loving it. And I'm thinking about other kinds of ways to use the field notes actual notebooks, because I have quite a collection of those, and I'm thinking maybe something collage related, but anyway, that's what I'm using it for currently. I'm also doing a watercolor a day notebook. You guys might be familiar with Courtney Cerruti's project, and it's great. This is my most recent week. And all you do is put down like a circle of watercolor and a sentence per day. But it's amazing how interesting it is to see how you can see your week through the lens of just a little bit of color and a few sentences. I'm such a big journaler. I love all these different formats. And then I usually do like a paragraph under the week name to capture the week. Okay, so that's been cool recently. Gosh, I think I'm just about done. The only other thing I wanted to mention is what are these called? Olive and Archer and Olive notebooks, because they are just the most amazing notebooks if you want to add watercolor or you want to use wet media. And I got this white one because I like, in fact, I love the Print and Pray, Illustrated Faith Print and Pray printables. And so I've been using these notebooks for Bible or Christian prayerful reflection and creativity, kind of Bible journaling style. And so I just started with the white one because I needed white for some of the printables to, I think, really shine. But I also have the craft, and the craft is just so interesting to work with. It's really been great. So I didn't want to leave that behind. So I'm working also in a craft notebook with the same kind of approach to, reflections and prayer. Reflect has been a really great word for me for 2020. Yeah, and I think the only other thing I'll say, the only notebook in my future, I did order the Amy Tangerine Archer and Olive planner because I know it's going to open flat like this. It's going to have this wonderful thick paper, and I'm going to use that just for random creativity. In other words, lots of watercolor and kind of experiments, a little more art journal style. Yeah, so that's where I'm at with notebooks, and this I knew would be a rather long video, but thanks for hanging in here with it. There goes my dog, perfect timing. So I'll check out and catch up with you later. Thanks so much.